So when someone does an independent film, is that more like a freelance sort of thing?
It's okay. So I classify the film business sort of in two categories: Hollywood,
Right.
and independent.
Okay.
So by Hollywood, I mean big budget, A-list actors, big production budget, stuff that you would typically see in a movie theater. You know, when movie theaters were open, obviously. Okay, stuff that you would say, hey, this is big enough that I would be comfortable to pay my $15 to go to the movie theater, and it's good value because it's going to be a really good movie. And they're generally A-list actors and big production value.
Right.
All right. And then there's the independent side, which is low budget, smaller independent movies that aren't financed in the big studio system and usually are made for a lot less money, don't usually have A-list actors, are stuff that you probably wouldn't see. But unless you're really into niche stuff, and you know, some of it's pretty good, some of it's really good, but it doesn't have the cachet of the big Hollywood stuff. So that's one component. The second component is that the studios are very well financed, and they understand the business of film, the business of the film business very well, more so than independents, because equally to making the movies, they also spend money on marketing them. So a Hollywood studio, if they make a $100 million feature, they're going to spend $50 to $100 million in marketing it. They're going to buy television advertising. They're going to buy billboards. They're going to make sure the world knows about the movie, because they're not shy to do that. They know they have to do that. They have to create awareness. That's an important component. The independent filmmakers generally don't spend any money on marketing. They're so focused on making their movies that they forget about how to market them. And that's a big disconnect. And that's why most of their movies never get seen, because nobody knows about them. It's not necessarily because they're not bad movies. I mean, they're not big caliber A-list actor movies, but a lot of them are very good movies, but they never get marketed because an independent filmmaker is just... Remember, a studio has a production division and a distribution division. The people who work in distribution, it's like a separate company. They're not filmmakers. They're marketing people. They go to business school. These people go to film school. These people go to business school.
Right.
Okay. An independent film producer is generally a filmmaker. They went to film school. They don't know how to market. And even if they did know how to market, they don't want to do it. It's not fun. They just want to make, they say, I'm a filmmaker, I'm an artist, I make movies. I don't sell them, other people sell them. But they don't have anybody else to sell them because they don't have a marketing division in their company because they're not big enough. So that's why independent film struggles so much, is primarily because of the marketing.
Is that because they don't have someone that's involved in their production that's involved in marketing?
Yeah, because they don't think about marketing, because they think like artists. They think like making it is everything. That nobody's really thinking about selling it. So as I told you before, I spend a lot of my time doing consulting for independent filmmakers because I have, a lot of distribution background. So most of the filmmakers, they don't ask me how to make their movies. They're probably better filmmakers than I am. They ask me how to sell their movies. And I say, well, if you want to sell it, you have to do the marketing functions, or you have to hire somebody to do your marketing functions. You have to do what the studios do on a smaller scale. And they say, but I don't know how to do it, or I don't want to do it. And I say, well, we can get you somebody to do it. And then the magic words is, but I can't afford it. I don't have any money tucked away. I mean, a Hollywood studio would never, ever, ever do that. They would never make a movie and not leave any money around for not marketing it. Everybody would get fired if they did that. The marketing division of their company drives the whole business. If marketing says, hey, we can't sell that movie, the movie doesn't get made.
Right.
I mean, it's all about marketing in a studio. With an indie filmmaker, they don't say, oh, well, I don't know if I'll be able to market this film, or I don't know if I'm going to have money. I just want to make it. I want to make it because it's a great story and I'm going to have fun making it and everything. Then they afterwards they think, uh-oh, now what do I do? Like, how do I sell it? And I don't have any money left over to sell it. And that's just the way they think. Now, I'm trying to change that. Like with my clients, I really, especially the clients who come to me before they make their movies and say, I'm thinking of making this movie. What do you think? I say, I think it could be a good story. Make sure you make it so that it's very audience-centric, so that the audience is going to enjoy it. Build things into it potentially that you can connect to audiences, and tuck away no less than 20% of your budget to market the film. See, filmmakers don't want to do that. Like if they're making a $500,000 feature film, I say, get another 100,000, 20% more, tuck it away and leave it tucked away, like lock it away for marketing. Do not touch it and spend it on production, because they'll say, well, I can make a better movie. I said, I know you can make a better movie. We can all make a better movie if we had spent another 100,000. but you're not going to sell it because you
Right.
got nothing left to sell it with. Like, marketing costs money. You got to do audience awareness campaigns, whether it's social media or whatever advertising. You got to spend money to market it, to create awareness.
Yeah, it sounds like they need a team of people then. It's not just one person who wants to film a movie. It's, you need to have a marketing, you know what I mean?
Well, that's what the studios have. That's what they
Yeah.
have. They have marketing divisions, right? Which are in most cases bigger than the production divisions. This is what I always tell my students also. I say, like, do you want to know what a studio really is? Go to Universal Studios in Hollywood, not the Florida one, the Hollywood one, all right? Enter Universal Studios through the Lancashire Boulevard entrance. There's two entrances. There's one on the front and one on the back. Go through Lancashire Boulevard. As you enter in there, off the 101, you're going to drive by this gigantic, big black 38-story office building. And on the top of it says NBC Universal. You can see it off the 101 as you drive there. This big, beautiful office building, NBC Universal. And you're just going to drive right by it, and you're going to be all excited to get into the studio and go for the studio tour and see the backlots and the sound stages where they film the movies and and all that kind of stuff. And you'll never think what goes on in that building.
Yeah.
That building's the heartbeat of the entire operation. That's the financial division. It's the marketing division. It's the sales and distribution arm. Those are the people that that's the heartbeat. They make the rest of it go. Without what they do, you wouldn't make any movies because nobody would be selling them. They couldn't operate. So those business functions are that are the business that operate the entire business and allow the filmmakers to make these big epic films. But yet the independent filmmakers, they would never pay any attention to that. Those are the evil people who stay in that building. Those are the business people, the ones we don't want to talk to because they're not artists. Yeah, they're the business accounting people. They legal people. Ooh.
So what does that consist of then for an independent film to be marketed? I know, Marvel and Spider-Man and stuff, you'll see that on commercials and billboards, maybe social media, but how does an independent film get marketed? Same ways?
No, because independent films will never be big enough to have television advertising. Okay. So TV is very, very expensive. And the economies of scale just don't allow for indie films to do that. Because they can never afford to have the big production values and the big A-list actors. Maybe somebody would take a chance, but they likely wouldn't. All right? So, plus they're not going to buy billboards or anything. So most of the indie film marketing now is done through social media, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Which could be huge.
It could be, but social media is so diluted and so hard to get people's attention because there's so much of it. Mm-hmm. You have to be super strategic to deploy your time and your resources properly. Maybe you're going to use influencers, or maybe you're going to do targeted advertising or something like that. You can't just throw it out there and say, oh, it's social media, everybody's going to hear about it.
Right.
Because, you get bombarded on social media with all kinds of stuff. So it's very strategic to identify your audience and then really connect to it. So the truth is that indie film producers really, really struggle with marketing, really struggle. Now, it's funny, you and I didn't talk about this before, but one of the major initiatives that I'm doing in my career right now is I created a marketing company for indie filmmakers to do exactly that, to do niche targeting for their indie films. Mm-hmm. I call it the Indie Film Solution. And what we do in that company is basically we watch their movie. Believe it or not, most distributors don't even watch the movies they distribute. So we watch it and we dissect it. Okay. And we say, these are the elements that we think we can connect an audience to. And we don't try to put it out to the whole world. We really focus on who the core audience is. Because I always say, like I say to my students, if you want to win a war, do it one battle at a time. Do not try to win the war in one battle. You got to go win little battles along the way, and hopefully that will, account to a whole war. That's what I say to filmmakers. Just go for a core niche audience. Go for 1,000 people. Don't try to go for 10 million. You're not going to get them. You don't have the resources or the skills to do it. Just go for people who you really think are going to want to watch your film. And so we identify that, and then we target it, and then we deploy their resources because they don't have a lot. Like they might have $5,000 to go and target that audience. So we target it. If we can get, say 1,000 people to watch their film and really like it, which doesn't seem like a lot, does it? But maybe each of those people tell 10 people. They say, hey, I saw this niche little indie film and it's pretty good. You guys should watch it. They become the ambassadors. Mm-hmm. That's called word of mouth advertising, which is the strongest form because somebody else is telling. We're not telling them. They're telling their friends.
Right.
then maybe that becomes 10,000, which becomes 100,000. That's how movies really, it would be like going viral on the internet.
Right.
But when you have limited resources, that's kind of how you have to do it. But indie filmmakers don't want it. They don't know how to do it, and they don't want to do it. It's not what they do. It's marketing. It's micro niche marketing. So that's what we do for them. And I'm very excited about that because they need the help. We charge them fair prices. We make sure that our campaigns are super strategically targeted. Obviously, we can't guarantee results because you can get the message in front of audiences, but you can't make people watch. But if you tell the message in a certain way and you make it very compelling, then hopefully they'll take a chance, is what we try to do. But otherwise, they got nothing.
Well, I think it's the most important, I mean, based on our conversation right now, I mean, it sounds like the most important asset to distributing the movie.
Well, I think it is, but there's two components, right? Number one is you got to make a good movie. All right, so let's not belittle that.
Right.
And making a good movie is not easy.
Right.
Like I said, it's the little thing. There's a lot that goes into this. It's like a nuclear reactor. There's the ton that goes into this, okay? So I do not take that for granted. It's very hard to make a good movie, and it takes a lot of skill, a lot of vision, a lot of collaboration amongst a lot of people. So don't get me wrong, this is super important, and it starts with that, all right? But once you do this and you check that box, I made a great movie, then all of it is that marketing. Everything else is about that, is about creating audience awareness and connecting with an audience so that you're hopefully enticing them to want to watch the movie. And then you can monetize it.